What's up, everybody? It's Thursday, time for some Thursday thoughts. My name is Jason Flame from Moorpark Karate and Krav Maga, joined by my co host, Master Kevin Kowalczik, out in Littleton, Colorado, Revolution Martial Arts. What's up, sir?
What's up, everybody? How are you, sir?
I'm fantastic. I'm rested and feeling great
I
after
know. You just got back.
vacation.
Amazing trip, man. We're all jealous. You got to go down to
Yeah,
Mexico. For how long? How long was it for?
I was there 7 days.
Oh, rub it in.
7 days. Seven
You
days.
look all tan up here.
I know I got a little shine going on, but I'll tell you what, as I told you before, I didn't miss a single workout. My wife and I both hit our workout every single day. So
Love it.
let's talk about this. Let's talk about this topic today. The topic is how can I avoid or prevent injuries in training, or even more importantly, how do we manage those injuries? And just 5 tips I'm going to throw out right off the bat. We'll touch on these points and then touch on some more. And by the way, if you're watching, give us a shout, say hey, let us know that you're here. But number one, we're going to talk about proper warm ups. Number two, let's talk about proper stretching. Number
Yes.
three, know your own personal limitations. Number four, choose your training partners wisely. And number five, be consistent in your training. Let's say, hey, what's up to Matt? What's up,
What's
Matt
up,
Zoller?
man? How
How you
you
doing,
doing,
bud?
Matt? Yeah, so I think if you're an athlete in any sport, especially the martial arts, but if you're an athlete in any sport, you're going to have to use your body, right? And being an athlete isn't about avoiding injuries, it's about managing them, right? Because injuries are going to come, but there's things that we can do to prevent them by training smarter. So the first tip I think you had was, what was it again?
Proper warm ups. So,
Proper
so
warm-up.
talk to me when you're getting ready to do a training session. What's up, Gene? How you
Absolutely.
doing, Gene?
Oh, hey, Gene.
What do you do to warm yourself up? And obviously, I think that's going to be different um, for whatever activity you're doing. But what's a basic warm up routine for yourself?
Yeah, so for me, I have a whole set of drills that I've gotten from Stephen Thompson that we do hips and skips and toe touches, and it's all dynamic movement going up and down the floor. You guys can actually find this if you can look. You can look up Stephen Thompson on YouTube and find his warm up routines. But I like to do a lot of dynamic, explosive movements. I like to do big stretch kicks. I like to do things where I'm moving my arms, moving my legs, moving my joints, getting my heart rate up, getting my body and my blood pumping. I don't want to sit and do static stretching. And I think that's a big problem, especially for teenagers, because they're used to being kids and they're just flexible. And as teenagers start to grow a little bit more, but you actually got to warm up now, right? And you'll see kids getting injured sometimes because they're not warming up properly. You want to do things that are going to elevate your heart rate, that are going to get the blood flowing through those muscles and get them warm before you stretch. Don't
Yeah.
just go right into stretching and don't do static stretching. You don't want to do things where you're just sitting still just to stretch your shoulder. You want to be moving a lot that's dynamic because that's going to help you get properly warmed up. And then from there, go into a proper stretch.
Right. So give a couple more. Give a couple of those examples on your warm ups. You throw out. Look at you name dropping Wonder Boy out there. You
He's
just
the
got done
man.
training out there, right?
Yeah,
Um,
he's
w-
awesome.
what? Give us five easy warm ups that you can do. Pretty much whether you're going to do your forms, you're going to start sparring, you're going to do some grappling. Any one of the aspects of our martial arts training. Give me five.
Absolutely. I'll do 3-step sprints. So I'll start off on one leg, opposite side, and explosive as I can. Boom, boom, boom. I'll take 3 steps and then I'll slow down for my pace for about 15 to 20 feet. I'll do about 8 to 10 of those sprints back and forth just to get my heart rate up. I'll go down the floor that same 15, 20 feet of stretch kicks, just big dynamic stretch kicks as high as I can. I'll squat down low and I'll shuffle with fast footwork back and forth while moving my arms back and forth. And then I also like to do a lot of shoulder rotations forward, backward, side to side, things to get all those joints loosened up.
hmm And here's a question from Gene. He wants to know how long should a warm up take, and should it vary upon the age of the athlete? I'm going to tell you right now that your warm ups are definitely going to vary based on your not just your age, but your athletic level, right? I mean, some people take a little bit longer to get warmed up and to get. I take a long time to warm up. I need like
Yep.
I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I need like 15 minutes to warm up, especially if I'm taking a big test. I need to warm up for. I want to get a sweat before I actually get working out.
Yeah, I would say the exact same thing, Gene. I mean, for me, like when I compete, we just got back from we did WKC in Detroit, and then last weekend, 2 weeks back to back, we were at the Battle of Atlanta. We're heading out next weekend, U.S. Open. When I'm competing, it takes me a good hour to warm up before I stretch. I'm warming up for an hour. I'm getting my heart rate up for an hour, and then I go into my stretch. Now, kids, I think that are a little bit younger, they don't need to warm up as long as we do as adults. They're usually pretty flexible and pretty good off the bat. But it's important that as instructors, we're instilling good, intense warm-ups into kids so that they learn the habits. So as they grow up and get older, they know how to do it already, right? So I'd say on average 10 to 15 minutes at least for a class.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And so let's go into the stretching. Give us, 3 to 5 of your best stretches. Talk about the areas that you stretch as you're working your warm up.
Yes, sir. So obviously splits are good. Once I'm warmed up, I've done a lot of dynamic movement. Static stretching is good. So splits, taking it as low as you can and holding it, doing side splits, turning your feet different directions, trying to hold that for 30 to 60 seconds, I think is really good. A lot of times I'll get down to my split and I'll kind of wiggle my hips back and forth to try to hit all those little tiny muscle fibers in there. So I think that's really important. It's good to stretch your back. So there's stretches that I like to do where I sit and I twist. I'll purposely just cross my legs over and twist from a seated position. To stretch my back out really, really well, because your core and your back is everything. If you've ever had a core injury or a back injury, it can just totally mess up everything, So that's another big area that I like to stretch. And then obviously my shoulders, because I'm using my joints, my arms a lot when I'm chopping, punching, blocking, if it's sparring, if it's forms, weapons, whatever. So I do a lot of shoulder stretching too.
And I'll add to that, for myself, one of the areas that I spend a lot of extra time stretching, especially if I'm doing any kind of jujitsu or grappling, is getting my neck
Yes.
stretched out, getting my mobility going a little bit. Not too hard, not too fast, but just getting it lubed up, right? You got to lube
Yep.
up the joints, all the joints, your
Absolutely.
knees, your elbows, your shoulders, just get it moving a little bit, and not cranking on it real hard. As a matter of fact, in any one of the stretches, there's a difference between feeling pain and feeling discomfort, right? Your stretches should always be a little bit uncomfortable, but if you're feeling pain as your stretch, you're probably going a bit too far.
Yeah, I say the same thing to our students. It's okay to be uncomfortable, but if it's painful, there's something that's off. We need to look at that differently. But yeah, I think another important thing too for people that are viewing and watching is making sure that you're stretching regularly, even if you're not training that day. It's okay to wake up and just stretch for 5 minutes. It's okay to have a morning routine and have the discipline of stretching every day just to keep your body moving. If the only time, say you train twice a week, some people train 2 times a week, right? If you're only stretching and moving your body twice a week, it's going to take a lot longer to get your body warmed up and stretched out properly for whatever it is you're going to do than if you were to be having 5 to 10 minutes every day of stretching, just keeping your body normally loose and used to moving, right? So I think that's another key factor.
Yep. Hey, we got 8 people right now, 8 people watching, but only 2 comments. Who else is out there? Say hey, let us know what's up. Questions, please let us know. Give us questions. Any questions, by the way. We're talking about preventing, avoiding, managing injuries and training, but we can talk about anything else if you guys want to ask. Number 3 is knowing your limitations. This is a tough one because sometimes as martial artists, we got a little bit of ego, right?
That's my
It's all
problem.
about the ego, and we're
Yeah.
pushing too hard, pushing too fast, pushing way. For me at 40, almost 48 years old, right? I like to keep up with the young bucks,
Woo!
and sometimes that hurt. I don't show it as much, but I feel it the next day and the
You
week
still got it,
after.
man. You still
I
got it.
still got
I come
still
out there to California and we do some training sessions together. We go hit the bags and we'll do some circuits, or we'll go to the gym and lift. Man, you're out lifting me. You're good. And, that's me. I'm getting close to 40 and I still feel like I'm 20. And I'm on the floor and I'm doing cartwheel, front flip, full twists, and 540s and 720s, and I'm doing all these crazy tricks, trying to keep up with my teenagers and my students. Because in my mind, I'm like, you got this, bro. But my body's like, no. If y'all could smell me right now through the screen, you would smell Tiger Balm right now. I've been training so hard, getting ready for the U.S. Open coming up. But yeah, you got to know your limitations. You got to know what your body's saying. You got to listen to your body, and you got to take your ego out of it sometimes and say, hey, maybe I should slow down a little bit. Right? I think that's important. But don't stop moving, though. That's another thing is a lot of you guys are more capable. Listen, for those of you guys that are listening, a lot of you guys are more capable of doing things than you give yourself credit for. You make excuses, you're lazy, and you're like, hey, I can't do that because I'm too old, or I can't do that because I have a bad back, or I can't do that because of whatever the excuse is. A lot of people have excuses and they don't push themselves outside of their comfort zone. So there's that too. There's a balance between listening to your body and knowing when to push and when not to push, and also letting it become a crutch and being lazy and sitting back and letting those muscles atrophy and letting your body get weaker. A lot of the times
Right,
when you
right.
have bad knees and bad joints and bad backs and all this stuff, it's because you don't move enough. It's because you're not doing
Sure.
anything to strengthen your body.
Right, right, right. I was just talking to a student last night, and if he watches this later, Scott Mathis, one of our Krav Maga students, he's kind of middle aged. He's not at the older end, not yet. He's still got some youth in him. But we were talking about being that older athlete and older warrior. That, like, you know what, we just gotta keep moving forward, and no matter how slow it might be, as long as you keep moving forward one day at a time, it's gonna get better, or you're gonna be able to prolong your training. Whereas if you stop for too long and you're inactive, man, it's
Absolutely.
hard to get back on it. But let's address this question. Brent DeBillo, getting ready to test for black belt,
What's up,
coming
sir?
up on this next team. He says, my running loosens me up in one way. Got to work in some lateral work. What are your suggestions on lateral work?
Is he meaning like side to side lateral motion?
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, well, I like doing ladder drills because it helps you learn how to cut side to side footwork drills. So lay a ladder out. So instead of just running forward and backward, what I would do, or what you could do is at home, you could get some duct tape and you could even make, 14-inch by 14-inch squares and just lay out like a ladder at home. You could do this, in your garage or wherever, but doing side to side shuffling movements, doing movements where you're in your fighting stance and you're bouncing and you're exploding side to side. That stuff's going to work on your hip flexors. That stuff's going to help that lateral movement side to side. It's just repetition of moving the muscle in that direction that's going to help get it a little bit stronger.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And we got Brent. We got 2 ladders. Actually, we have three ladders here in the school. We may have to throw those into class next time. So remind me. We'll put some
That'd
in
be a
there.
good warm
Um,
up. Yeah.
let's go, Gene. How much should you vary your warm up? I think that you should vary your warm up enough that you're hitting all the muscle groups, all the joints. Right. If you're just doing the same thing, let's just take, you're doing squats. Well, when you're doing squats, you're not hitting your shoulders and you're not hitting your arms. You got to work every body part a little bit. So just enough to hit every muscle group and every joint is what I
Yeah.
would say.
I would agree too. As long as you're hitting every major muscle area that you need to have warmed up and stretched out properly, I think that's good. And if you find a routine that you like, you can stick with that routine as long as you're hitting everything that you ought to hit.
Right. Guys, we only have a couple minutes left because we try to keep this short on Thursdays. But 2 more things. Number 4, choose your partners wisely. Oh,
Woo!
man, let me tell you, when it comes to sparring and grappling, I am very careful with who I partner with. And that's because I know my body and I know my limitations. There's always that one person in class that everybody's like, dang, like, I don't know if I want to partner with them because they're out of control. They're going too fast. They're going too hard. They might have too much of an ego. And I always tell students, listen, you got to speak up. You got to let people know when you have injuries. You got to let people know, what's going on with your body. And once again, it all comes down to being able to check the ego and be able to work. I'm not saying that you can't work with everybody. I'm just saying that you need to be very careful and you need to communicate with those partners. I mean, have you seen this in your classes, Mr. K, where you got that one person that's
Yeah.
just not everybody's favorite partner?
Yeah, there's people usually when you say partner up and everybody kind of hurdles over to one area, right? Because there's usually that one guy or girl that they don't know their own power, they don't know their own strength. Sometimes they have a little ego. Maybe sometimes they think that they're training at a level that their partners are comfortable at, maybe because they're comfortable at that level, but they don't understand their partner isn't comfortable at that level. I'm fortunate and blessed enough that I get to train with all kinds of UFC fighters and professional athletes that get in cages and fight for a living. And when we spar and we train together, it's light touch. We take care of each other. We don't train hard. There's no reason to hit each other hard in sparring. We save that for the fight. So when you're doing sparring or whether you're doing self-defense or whatever it is, there's a level of intensity and realism that you can train at without injuring your partner, which I think is important. There's also the opposite too, where people that fluff it and they fake their self-defense or they're barely punching and things like that. Well, that's not real either, and that's not being a good partner. So I think being a good partner, to speak on being a good partner, you got to be able to train dynamically, explosively, realistically, but also have enough control that you're not throttling and injuring your partner. Because let's think about it, at the end of the day, if you don't have a partner to train with, you're not going to be able to get better at your own skills. How do you get better if you don't have a partner? If nobody wants to train with you, or if they're all injured? So I think that's important. Yeah.
Yep, 100%. Hey guys, last chance to throw in your questions. If you have any questions, we're going to hit one more point here. And number 5 is be consistent in your training, right? I said it before, when you take that time off, right? I mean, when you have to take time off for an injury and there's no way around it, okay. But sometimes when we take those breaks because I'm just feeling sore or I just don't feel like training, the more time off you have, the harder it is to get back into the routine. And sometimes we don't realize that when we've been off for a week or however long, and then you try to go 100% on that first workout, snap, something
Yep.
bad happens. So being consistent in your training, I think, is super, super important. Even if it's I would rather see someone train at a little lower level, if that's the right term, every single day than train once or twice a week, like as hard as you possibly can. Does that make sense?
100%. Yeah, laziness and complacency is the quickest way to you getting injured in training. You got to be consistent. You can't train lazy. You got to be regularly pushing yourself and training at an intensity level that's realistic, right? So say it's sparring, or self-defense training, right? There's a saying, train like it's real, so when it's real, it's like you trained. Right. So if you're always kind of like lazily kind of going through motions and you're not really pushing your body and you're not really giving it 100% effort in classes, well, then one day you try to push hard or you try to be more explosive and more dynamic and something pops or injures or whatever, right? Like, because your body's not used to moving at that rhythm. It's like if you walk all the time and then you try to go get into a sprint with a bunch of sprinters. Like, no, if you want to be a sprinter, you got to sprint. You can't walk. It's not going to help you. Same thing with forms. I see it sometimes with some of our teenagers that compete on a national level where they come in to train their routines and they're just kind of fluffing it and they kind of go through the motions and stuff. They train at like 50, 60%, and then they think they're going to show up on game day and perform at 100%. It doesn't work that way. You're not just going to magically improve and get better with your skills. You have to train at the level that you want to compete at, or you have to train at the level you want to perform at, right? So consistency is key. You can't be lazy in your training. You can't be complacent in your training. I think that's super important. All 5 of these tips that you came out with today, awesome. I hope people are listening, taking notes, and I hope they really go and implement it.
Well, let me give you these 5 one more time if you guys want to write them down or just remember them. But we talked about proper warm-ups, proper stretching, knowing your limitations and checking your ego, choosing your partners wisely, and being consistent in your training. So let us know your thoughts on this. If you happen to watch this later and you're not watching it live, you watch the playback sometime, just let us know. Let us know your thoughts. And we got a big thing coming up. U.S. Open is coming up. You're going to compete. You showed me something earlier. Do you want to show that on screen?
It's top secret, but we're going to break it out for the first time. Check this out.
All right. All right. Check it out.
Ooh, that is nice right
Look
there.
At that.
2022 tricking champion. We're going to be having an extreme kicks and tricks battle on stage at the U.S. Open. It's going to be on ESPN. This belt, this golden beauty, it's amazing. This thing is going to be going to the top tricker in the country right here. We're giving this away. And guess what? We're not doing an adult division. We're specifically looking at the up-and-coming next generation. We're looking at the teens, the young kids, the 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old demographic. Somebody's going to win that belt. Somebody's going to win that belt on ESPN. $1,000 cash prize. It's going to be awesome, man. And we're trying to inspire the next generation to be the best martial artists they can. It's awesome. It's exciting. I can't wait.
That's huge. That's huge. And everybody is going to hear and know about Raptor Extreme Training at US Open. Maybe we'll get some footage out there and see some of these trickers. So real quick, give everybody the update on Raptor 2.0 and then we'll show them a little bit about it.
Yeah, it's going to be so sweet, man. It's the first ever virtual training system in our industry. It interacts with the users. So people at home, students can watch a lesson plan. At the end of the lesson plan, it can give them quizzes. It will give them different paths. It's like that old, that pick your path kind of game thing, right? So if somebody's learning a certain form and they want to work more on kicks or their hand techniques, if they want to diversify and learn a weapon, they can kind of choose their martial arts path, and it's going to help give them tips and things on their preferences and what they want to learn and what they need to do to improve. It's going to give them scores and report cards. It's going to keep them accountable. Like, this new system is going to take martial arts training to the next level. I can't wait. We're officially launching it at the Super Show in like 3 weeks? Man, it's
We're
like 3
about,
weeks out.
wow, it's so quick. Yeah, about
Oh
about
my
three
God.
three or 4 weeks. So we're
Yes, I
excited to
can't
launch
wait.
that. And guys, be on the lookout. Raptor Extreme Training will have a Facebook page today. Make sure you go and like it. I'll send out invites, but we'll get it up there. And hey, I think I'm going to be coming out to Colorado at some point this summer. I hope. I want to come out, be at
Yes, sir.
Revolution again, work on some Krav with you guys. And I can't wait to have you come out to Moorpark and go over some extreme training with our brand new Team Impact that is super pumped and excited. They had their first
Awesome.
demo. I hope you saw it.
Yep.
They're
They look
working
great.
hard, and who knows, maybe we'll get some of them to go to US Open next year. So we'll see. But hey, guys, let me show you a little bit more about Raptor Extreme, and tune in next week, and we will be here to answer your questions. Thank you to everybody that tuned in today. Check out that belt. I love it. I
Man,
almost want a trick so that I can earn that belt.
I don't even want to give it away. I want to keep it.
I, I know.
We'll
We
see
should
you
make one
guys.
later. Here it is, Raptor Extreme Training.